This is the Socially Relevant Film Festival New York Dialogues. We are here today with another filmmaker who has been one of the highlights of our 5th annual edition of the festival, taking place at Cinema Village. And we have with us Claudia Sobral, who has a wonderful documentary film called Hotel Everest. Welcome, Claudia, to our studio and to the Socially Relevant Film Festival.
Well, thank you. It's really wonderful to be here, and I really appreciate all the attention and concern that we filmmakers are treated well, and that our film gets as much visibility as possible. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, because we concentrate on socially relevant films and films that depict human interest stories. We are exclusively dedicated to that. And when we see beautiful films and wonderful filmmakers, that's what really makes our film festival. Without those two elements, we don't have anything. So really thank you for taking the time and traveling all the way to New York to come and share your film with us. Tell us a little bit about how you got the idea of this film.
Okay, Hotel Everest is the film. Well, the idea of the film began with my interest in documenting stories of people in war or conflict, people that reach out to the quote-unquote enemy, to the other, and not only to learn about this person who they know very little about, but to establish connection, relationship, and trust in the hopes of developing a collaboration and partnership, and push for an agenda that differs from the status quo, where people are supposed to look at one another as a threat for their existence. And so my film shows a story where Palestinians and Israelis come together at this very special place called Hotel Everest, that's located in Beit Jala between Jerusalem and Bethlehem. It's actually a hotel that's owned by a Palestinian family for about 3 generations.
Wow.
And so there is really a commitment there to be a venue for peace groups.
For people to come together.
For people to come together,
Yes.
in spite of, actually the hotel is located about 10 meters, very close to the separation wall, and but still they're committed to this reality of peace and peace building.
Because when in war situations, it basically the wars are not between the people. The wars are between the governments and the higher powers, and the normal people in both ends of the conflict lines are suffering. People, the regular civilians, the regular people are the ones who pay the price, really, every time there's a war. So what you're doing is bringing those elements who are both suffering together, so they learn about the other and find out that at the end of the day, they are more similar than different.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That's precisely the purpose. And I also believe that, you know, change is slow for change to happen. So I don't know if we're going to see change in our generation or my daughters or, you know, future generations, but we have to start somewhere. And I think it's everybody's responsibility to take that step forward.
But something that I always wanted to ask you, and maybe this is the opportunity, why is the hotel called Hotel Everest? Because it's as far as it can be from Everest, and yet they chose that name. Was it a particular purpose?
Well, it's a very interesting name, because climbing the Everest is something so difficult and challenging. But they chose the name Hotel Everest because it actually stays on the highest point of this town called Beit Jala. But I love that metaphor of, you know, climbing for peace, climbing and Everest. Not everybody makes it to the top.
Absolutely.
So it's a very challenging place.
Yes.
It's a good metaphor.
That is a very good metaphor, because it is surmounting the difficulties, physical difficulties of going up the mountain. And this is a mountain of difficulties, because we are trying to bring together two parties that don't want to hear about the other.
No, or that have been brought up to believe that the
That the
other is
other
the
is
enemy, and it's something that
totally.
you inherit from generation to generation. It's like, you know, your grandparents believe that your parents, your friends, your family. So these people, in order to climb, or in order to work towards, to strive for peace, they need to overcome several obstacles, not only physical, because the freedom movement is very limited over there with the checkpoints and permits and this and that. So it's hard to go actually from place to place, especially when you need to cross the line. So these people are facing the physical obstacles and also the psychological, the mental
Exactly.
obstacles and pressure from family, from friends
The
who really
beliefs.
challenge them, you
Yeah.
know, what you're doing. And these people are oftentimes called, you know, traitors or collaborators, or so it's a really
Yeah.
complex situation over
Tell
there.
us about how it was while you were filming. Did you encounter any difficulties trying to film something that deals with bringing two sides of the conflict together? I'm sure each one was looking
Yeah.
at you as maybe a threat or something.
I have, well, you know, with documentary films, until you actually bring the camera to shoot, there is that long period of time where you need to gain people's trust. And so I started by, I heard about this program, I heard about these activities that were happening at Hotel Everest, and I decided to go first to see for myself before I decided to film. And this was really important, just to spend some time with the people there so that they knew what my intention was, and they knew that pretty much I would work closely with them, and if there were issues that I would always be working closely with them. But so going there and observing and seeing what was going on, and the urge and the desire of people to meet with one another and connect on a person-to-person level was very moving. And I felt like, you know, I had to share that story with the world. Here you are, you know, a retired army colonel who had a military career, because in Israel, you know, the army is mandatory for 3 or 4 years. This is someone who served in the army for about 20 years, with a director of a school, a peace education school in Bethlehem, coming together to figure out, you know, to learn about one another and develop these programs. And then, so for me, that was very important to me. The challenge in terms of logistics was, I actually dealt with that, hiring a cinematographer, an Israeli and a Palestinian cinematographer
to work
together, which was another component of
Wow.
the film that was really interesting. Yeah, because the Palestinian would be able to go certain places that the Israeli couldn't
Cannot
go,
and
yeah,
vice
so
versa.
vice versa.
Yeah.
And
But also the fact of bringing them together on one project
absolutely.
in itself is a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. In
Yeah.
fact, the Israeli said, "Oh, I never met a Palestinian cinematographer," and I said, "And guess what? You're going to have to spend the night with him in the same room, because I have a very limited budget and I cannot afford. I don't have. I cannot, you know,
Put you up in
put you all
separate-
separate rooms." And in the morning, you know, the Israeli one came to me and said, "Wow, Claudia, I can't believe I'm doing this. You know, this is the first time I work with a Palestinian cinematographer, and then we spend the night together. And here we are talking about maybe doing a project together that we're going to work."
Really,
So this to
really
me was
beautiful.
really
See,
amazing.
You're saying that from on a global level, on a bigger, higher governmental level, maybe peace is not right away around the corner, but already just doing your film, you have already started the seeds of a peace, of a talk, of a dialogue, of bringing these people together. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
bringing this film to us, and thank you for traveling to the festival and being with us in the studio. The film is called Hotel Everest. It's a documentary film, and it's one of the nominees for the Grand Prize of
thank you.
Documentary. So we wish you all the best, and
Thank
we
you.
can't wait to see what will happen on Thursday.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Claudia.